Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to some Minecraft Musings. Another day of my vacation, my week off, and it has been amazing. We are back to. Actually, real quick before I go too far, let's go and get some more of this. Because we're working on a cactus farm, an automated cactus farm, but. And also, we're out of that ugly um, texture pack. We're back to the city pack. This is still easily my favorite. I mean, I love classic Minecraft, but like this. Like everything about it. Like the cacti look great, the jungle trees look great. It's almost like that other texture pack. They just didn't put in as much effort into like all the details. Like everything in this pack is changed significantly. Like the trees, the wood, it all looks like at least okay, if not really cool. Like I don't know. That was one of many free packs that I have for having the realm. Which I don't want to get too cozy with any of that because, if I ever decide to cancel my realm, they all go away. So, I mean, it's cool while it's there. Same with like how some people are nervous about going to online games versus actual cartridges and discs and physically owning a physical copy of the game. Whereas I'm not too bothered by it because, well, one, I haven't heard of anything like that ever happening in the past. And if any one gaming giant did that, or just cut you off for whatever reason, like there would be outcry. Like I mean, any reason that doesn't seem sensible. Like if you aren't paying your bills, if I stopped paying for this realm, I would understand that they would cut it off. It'd be like your electricity or your water, or, like you have to pay your bills. So I mean, if you want the service, basically. I mean, you could still always go shower in the rain or do like the natives used to do without indoor plumbing and all that, or how some people around the world still do, or if you go camping. But no, and I think it's well. Anyways, yeah, we're back to this. Um, this texture pack and this realm too, because I was also able to sign in. And I'm a computer scientist and cybersecurity professional, a white hat. I did a 6 month certification through a boot camp, or a 6 month boot camp that ended in an official certification. Just like a diploma for a 4 year degree, it's a certification of a more of like a trade school tech focus type of education. So yeah, 6 months, and I've also done a 3 month. Uh, it's always weird talking about that, but substance abuse and substance use counseling training program. So as far as why I keep talking about substance use and basically like um, the roots of all evil and like how we have so many problems today. A lot of it is miscommunication and misunderstanding, but a lot of that is due to a certain few key factors. But before we get into that, I'm excited to get back to here because I am going to start some more work. Also, that just looks awesome in this texture pack. I mean, it'll look okay, probably still good in the Minecraft one, if I ever lose the textures again for not having my account connected, which ironically I just realized I have to have my account connected to be in this realm. So if I were to download a copy of this and play it in regular, or if I just turn off the texture pack, that'll still look cool. But this, so I guess I need to check and see how I'm doing with. Oh wait, as I say that, hmm, maybe we should keep it to this building. Hmm. So anyway, sorry, I just had to run through a few things. I've got a bunch of diorite. In fact, I'll go show you because I'm creating this new structure that's also floating. Oh, whoa. Oh yeah, there's a hole in the middle of that. There's also a couple holes over here. That's right. Or three. Just have the one here. So I'm still not sure which tile, like, I want to say it's this one, but it could be this one. No, it has to be that one. But anyways, it's too far, it's too close to the water, so it's actually saturated. Like you can see, there's water here, but if it were higher up, so I still need to build the second floor. And with that, I have a decent amount of polished diorite, so not as much as I thought, but sand. Oh, there we go. So it's just not polished yet. All right, but anyways, I was building this giant structure over there with a fire bridge to it, um, because I was gonna make that like a museum, a mausoleum, and kind of like an ofrenda. So something that I really like about Spanish culture, maybe it's just Mexico or Central or either way. Dia de los Muertos is where they make like an altar or an offering or an ofrenda to honor their fallen ones, the people that have died in their family. So, and I would extend it to include friends, because in another area of this realm, I do have like a memorial place. I was gonna put this here, and so, and also include in that like a little educational part, like the cause of death, possible ways to prevent it, issues, socioeconomic issues that would lead up to that, or or if it's just health, like how this and that. Well, if we were treating every death like an IT problem, and then how would we solve it? Like if we don't want this result to happen, how would we fix that? Prevent it, maintain it, take care of what's already existing, and make it retroactively applicable if possible. Um, so, so yeah, and actually, while we're talking about that, the whole Russia thing. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna keep working on the Charlie boards, but I think that's just like a nice goal to have as like a fun project, not really like I don't have to get this thing out, and if it never gets created, like a lot of my projects, I'm thinking about a lot of websites, which I mean, I don't know, did I get use out of them? Yes, I learned how to do that specific thing that I was trying to do with whatever website project, but did anybody else in the world see it? No. I mean, well, maybe not. Like, the code pens are public, but there aren't a whole lot of views on that. And I didn't really advertise it a lot because they are just meant for, like, internal projects that kind of let me either learn something or better understand something. Because I'm more of a visual, and I feel like we're all more visual type people. It's just some of us have also adapted to different ways of learning, of like reading, being able to analyze. But I mean, especially with how splintered and fractured our world is now, between being able to constantly have our head on a swivel. Which is funny because that's what my coaches used to say in football. Like I was a lineman and I had to keep my head on a swivel and look out for people trying to attack the quarterback or like and then I'd have to head them off or and I also had to be the quick tackle, which was the weak side, but often the side that we would pull and have for lead blockers. So I would run down the field and run into people to block for. We would move the target to be protected downfield and towards the end zone, or it would be tucked back behind or trying to run up between. There was just different situations. So from lineman to IT to white hat. I like the white hat part because, and it does kind of still feel a little messed up because, I mean, if you're going to do absolutely for the law, I would say the law of nature and humanity, like really. Because, I mean, our laws in America, like with respect to the local laws, mind you, you still have to respect the local laws. Like you can't, and then, I mean, unless you also expect to be caught and punished for those laws, and just assume that it could happen and probably will happen. But anyways, sorry, a lot of people say gray hats because they'd rather say like I choose the laws that I think are right, not necessarily the ones in place. And so there's some kind of difference of opinions there. But and that's why well the conclusion I keep coming to for the Russia-Ukraine thing. I mean it doesn't even matter about the Ukraine thing, just the Russia thing. Like to fully end the Cold War and actually end it, there needs to be no more corruption at the top. We need to have a clear and transparent election, and I hate that, like, I don't know. That one political prisoner died. I need to look into like why he was in jail the second time, because I mean, there could be a range of reasons. Just like here, we've got stuff where we kind of abuse sentences. Like people are less likely to make parole if there's political pressure on keeping that person behind bars. So, America, if we're going to start judging, if we're going to start pointing that finger and saying we need solutions for Russia, like I'm doing, we need to take a self inventory and be like, all right, so what do we need to fix here, too? So, take money out of politics. Like, that's one very simple way. Although it needs to be a clean transition because if you just, like, overnight try to take away that way, it does look like voter suppression, like an infringement on your rights, like to be able to elect and nominate like someone who because you need a chance to get to know them. You need a chance to see what they're about, what they're going to do, what their track record shows that they do. Um, I think that should have been an important one with the whole Trump campaign. Is like, what does this track record say? Oh well, not so good. Like, he's got a lot of failed businesses, bankrupt. Like, I don't know how somebody that inherited millions can file bankrupt. Like, and actually, as I say that, let's not spread disinformation. And this is what I love about XApp. I mean, well, kind of love hate thing. Like, you get checked by people and they present facts and articles or even a Google search. So even if you had the Google AI, I think it's Gemini, sitting in the background of whatever tool that you put together, and just have like, okay, here's what the internet says about that. Although it's bad because Elon, one of Elon's major followers or acolytes or whatever, he or they, I don't even know if it's he or she or in between, but they posted um, something that showed Google as being woke. And it's like, ah, let's see. So Trump files bankrupt because this is just from what I've heard and seen on social media, and it hasn't been for a while. But 4 or 6 times you've taken business bankruptcies 6 times. Okay, well the Washington Post. Trump's companies have filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, which means a company can remain in business while wiping away many of its debts. The bankruptcy court ultimately approves a corporate budget and a plan to repay remaining debts. Often shareholders lose much of their equity. Trump's Taj Mahal opened in April 1990 in Atlantic City, but 6 months later defaulted on interest payments to bondholders, and his finances went into a tailspin. Let's see. Hmm. Oh, that's all I get to read unless I sign up for Washington Post. So, okay, so already does not look like he personally. Although, wow, this one says Donald Trump bluffed his way out of bankruptcy in the 90s. Well, let's see. This just came out in January of this year. Donald Trump, also by the New York Post, I think that, or no, that was the Washington Post. Now, the New York Post, which usually I see more stuff like anti Democrat stuff on here, but Donald Trump inflated his net worth to narrowly wriggle out of personal bankruptcy in 1990, according to sources and financial records. Yeah, it's like someone trying to cheat on a test or take shortcuts or, cut corners. Like, same with this most recent lawsuit. And I don't know if it's. Hmm. It's a lot of money being thrown around for. I know they're mistakes, but, like, I don't know. I just still feel. Same with the Russian oligarchs. Like, we got to figure out a way to preserve the existing. Not really preserve, like, keep corruption and all that, blah, 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 but, like their big problem is as soon as someone else but Putin takes over, they're not getting half of everything. Like, and if that's even true, because again, like I just had to look up whether Trump filed bankruptcy. I fact checked myself, and no, his businesses have. Which still, I mean, several businesses that have failed, but that's not filing bankruptcy, and that's kind of a spin. One of the things was it looked like a debate from Hillary and Trump during that whole thing, where Hillary said, "You filed bankruptcy 6 times." And while might be true with his businesses, that's not true of him. And that just kind of phrasing, myself included, people might tend to believe, oh wow, such a wealthy guy, but he filed bankruptcy. Like even I haven't filed bankruptcy, but I'm still living paycheck to paycheck, and like the reality of just about 90% or 99% of Americans, um, or it's something alarming. It's like at least 60, if not 75% of Americans are one paycheck away from being homeless. Like if they lost a paycheck, they could, yeah. So it could lead to a downward spiral of homelessness or losing your residential status in society or losing your permanent residence. There you go. Sorry, still trying to think of a better way. I mean, homeless people is just it isn't the proper way to classify things because they're not homeless for life. Like, and I think there's just that big misunderstanding, even though that might not be intended by the person saying it. It usually isn't. I mean, once they really figure it out, or maybe they don't know. So that's like an undecided. But I don't know. Getting into the weeds with semantics, like in linguistics, because it matters. I mean, the court of law is written in linguistics that may or may not, like, have to have entire, well, juries of people, judges, and evidence and all this to try to convince one way or the other if it makes sense, if it seems like what the law is supposed to mean. Like the law having so many interpretations, and yeah, so. Hmm. Anyways, the Russian thing, like, the people in power aren't yielding that power or aren't going to allow that power to yield and have a peaceful transition of power without some assurances that as soon as the new people take over that, all of these wealthy people aren't just going to immediately go to jail and lose all their wealth and like there's no incentive to change. Like there's no incentive to join the global community and live in a way with a government that is picked by the people periodically, like regularly. I mean, because same with England. I called out that England has a king and a queen, but in name only, basically. Like, I think they do still have some. Oops, did I just. Okay. I think they do still have some powers. Like, I mean, you see the King Charles signing things, and you gotta imagine Queen Elizabeth was all over in politics and stuff and, like, traveling to different governments. But I like to believe that still their parliament had a check and balance in it, similar to the way that we do. So, I don't know. And all of this does go back to being able to convene into a proper world government. Mm. And not even a one person or one entity ruling the entire world and like everybody conforming to them. Everybody still retains their individuality and their identities while also mixing cultures too. Like, I mean, America has every identity, every culture. Like, I was talking about ofrendas and like Spanish culture. Visited Costa Rica, like, and yes, yes, some people say, well, Costa Rica's for fancy rich people. It's like that is so offensive. I would not consider myself rich. I'm like, I'm well off now. I mean, a lot of hard work, like years of studying computer science and, years of being in higher education, years of doing community college. I always worked throughout all of that. I think the longest time I went without working was during that cybersecurity boot camp. I actually just did not work for the entire boot camp. I was like, this is my job now. And I was on unemployment and yeah, I mean, I had a job on the front and tail end of that. Well, one, I ended up just quitting. I was just like, no, this is not. I mean, it was a warehouse job. It was grueling. I'm getting older and like can't be lifting stuff like that like all the time for the entire day. And like, younger people will do that, but nah. So then I tried to do it basically like a call center job, which was kind of annoying. And then because of my background, I couldn't even do it. It's funny. They're like, no, we're not gonna, keep you around. This was like a probationary thing. So it's like, all right. Then I just didn't look for my next job. I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna do this class, and that's how I know. very well that welfare is not a thing, and that's important because of the whole border invasion, like the migrant crisis. And I'm doing air quotes of crisis. You just can't see it. Um, because, and even though it's an alarming amount of people coming into this country, which is why I still stand by my idea of border villages that are mandatory refinement for people coming in. Things like learning at least enough English to get by, like to survive, to not like, I mean, because I think a lot of it is just like we don't know what, and now there's like job skills and stuff. How are you going to successfully contribute to this country? Like if you want to come here, if you want to live, you want to work, that's fine. But you gotta pay your way, and everybody does too. That's the neat thing about that one report that I found that was more talking about just immigrants in general, but it was during the Trump. So I realized I gotta get rid of some of this stuff. Let's finish chopping down the tree. I was gonna say let's at least. There we go. We can even just combine those and get the wood. But it was a report put out because Trump was trying to prove that immigration was bad and he needed to stop immigrants from countries that notoriously had known terrorists or something. Which, okay, I kind of get that. Like to a point, to a very racist and like, I mean, I wouldn't approve of it, but if you're looking for the line of thinking, like especially anytime after post 9/11, just because being such a Christian nation, we're such at odds. But and right there's the flaw in the logic is I don't see us as a Christian nation, and we go through a lot of lengths to try to declare that we are not a Christian nation. We are a nation built on like common sense and law and like practice and tradition and all this, but earthly bound traditions, not bound in faith. Which faith is fine. Faith is great to have. A lot of people have it. Pretty much everybody has it. Some just have it in science. Like, as do I. I still skeptical about what the Bible says because I don't know. I wasn't there. Like, somebody could have talked to them or something. I don't know. I'm thinking aliens, really. And that whole thing. So if you haven't watched Ancient Aliens, it's a great show. Although it's kind of like repetitive too. It's like they could have done everything in like one season, but but of course that's how they have to stretch it to make a show to like sell it. So um, now you can just get YouTube and Twitch, and I just heard on the radio this morning some kid that called in wants to be a streamer when he grows up. I'm like, oh, okay, you know. But being a streamer would be cool, but I don't know any streamers that's all they do. In fact, quite the opposite. One of the one streamers that I used to watch a lot, and I still kind of every now and in fact today, as I say that, I have some bits because I do the research group. I've got like 600 or 700 bits, and I need to pop in there and donate them to somebody. And that's awesome. That's a great feeling. I don't do it much because I haven't plugged any of my own money into this company, but it's owned by Amazon. So you got Jeff Bezos at the helm, one of the wealthiest people in the world. I think he could pay his people a little better and like fund some money in. And anyways, I might still in the future. Let's see, Lana Lux, Finite Singularity, and Pika's Study. Hmm. There's a few people. So anyways, the person I'm talking about is Anthony Writes Codes. Anthony Writes Code. And I think he does his first and last name on there. And like he basically uses his social platforms to advertise for his career, and it worked too. Like at the time that I was watching, which was when I was in between jobs, and I was building up my career doing streams and videos for education, which I'll still get back into. I mean, I need to redo all the stuff that I've done with a better mic, even probably better than this one. Like I'm gonna get like an actual like microphone, and then oh, I'm already at it. So and also be focused, do a good job. Ah. But anyways, suffice to say that I'm not gonna just like stop with the whole Charlie's Wall thing. Like that's gonna take some time, and if it ever comes to fruition, that's cool. Because the Charlie's Wall, and for those that don't know, uh, it's a project I'm working on during vacation where um, it's a web service that it's like MySpace. So for those that are old enough that remember MySpace, you had your page, a lot like a Facebook, but even Facebook, especially how most people use it, which is on the phone, it doesn't look all that right because it's like you see their I mean, you can see you don't have pinned posts, and that's where XApp is actually kind of passing up Facebook, because XApp allows you to have pinned posts, meaning like, oh, these are the posts or the things that I've shared with the world that I think, or your community, I guess, because my Facebook is a lot more protected, and reasonably so. I changed the visibility on a couple of my posts, and all I've got are spam bots, or like not really even bots, just like spammers trying to message me, friend me, like try to send me a link, try to, do something under the protection of a direct message, which Facebook actually analyzes direct messages. There's a bot looking at all of those, and sometimes people. I I was reading something about how like they work with local authorities like the police, and they will report illegal activity. Like if you're dealing drugs on Facebook, like they'll be like, "Oh, he's gonna." I mean, maybe it's limited to like violent crimes. I don't know. And especially with the war on drugs basically disintegrating, which rightfully so. I mean, I'm not saying people should be out there using drugs. They should get therapy or counseling, or everybody should have some therapy and counseling in their life anyway. Just to kind of touch base, maintenance or like mental health maintenance. We do doctors checkups. I mean, or maybe even incorporating psychology and therapy and counseling into a doctor's visit. Like, I mean, doctors already, I mean, train quite a bit, but what if you had a mental health specialist at the doctor's office that would also take a look at your thinker, you know? In fact, I'm gonna put that on my Charlie wall. Hold on, I'm gonna write that down real quick. Oh my gosh. Ah. Okay. If you're crouching, you're not gonna fall off, and I didn't learn that until I played Minecraft quite a bit before I found that out. Let's see. I got so many things going on. All right. What the heck was I even talking about? Mental health. There you go. Mental health checkup with doctors checkup, therapist or specialist that sees you as regularly as doctor or dentist. Like dentist is really important, which I neglected, and I had a giant hole in one of my teeth, or a tooth that. Well, and I didn't have insurance, so part of that, I mean, not to like make excuses, but at the same time, yeah, kind of to make excuses. Like I didn't want to go find a new dentist, and I didn't have insurance, and so then I had to find somewhere that accepted Medicaid, which, and at any given time, I totally could have done this, and that's why people need some time to like reflect, take care of business stuff, like maybe have like a day off once a month or once every other week where it's just a you day and you catch up on clerical admin stuff. Now, luckily my job now lets me do that on the clock. Like if I need a doctor's appointment or a therapist appointment or anything, like, and I do have some counseling I'm doing for part of my parenting program, like just to ensure that, you know, because it is perfectly fine to have mental health checkups anymore. It's funny because like even watching TV shows and stuff, and even Breaking Bad, like Hank talks about it. Like you start seeing a shrink, that's the end of your career, and it's like, and it used to be kind of a taboo thing. Like, oh, don't show weakness. Being in therapy, oh, that's not good. But in reality, yeah, it's very common, very good. Um, I don't know. And already I can tell you, once we end the war on drugs and like get everybody out of prison that shouldn't be there. And I was reading somewhere like that was the goal for a long time, was to transition correctional facilities into mental health facilities. And they did it with TC Arrowhead. And I spoke with someone who was at TC Arrowhead, and he was like, "Man, no, it was not good. It was not good just changing a prison into a counseling center, because one, you're not supposed to talk in prison. Like if you're gonna jam somebody up or step on someone's toes or get someone in trouble, you can't talk about it. Period. That's the law. Like, I mean, and if you think it's different, no, go spend some time behind bars. Like, not saying I've ever been to prison per se, but I just know. I know the rules. So, anyways, as everybody should, because I feel like if people knew the rules of prison like that, like if something was going to affect somebody, you go talk to them. You don't talk to the law, those are the authorities, those in charge. Now, if it comes down to things like murder, and I think that's what more Facebook keeps an eye out for, is like, oh, I'm hiding a body, help me hide a body, or hey, please, I'm looking to hire a hitman or something. Like, okay, that would send a red flag and send it to law enforcement to investigate. And not that like the FBI and the CIA don't have backdoors into everything anyway. In fact, that's why they fight with Apple a lot because Apple refuses to provide those backdoors. But it doesn't matter. I mean, if you can take physical possession of a device or like yeah, a device, doesn't matter how encrypted it is. There's no such thing as a self-destruct. I mean, there kind of is, but and even then, I don't know. It's like, and you can't make something write only or read only. You have to be able to rewrite it on a device. I'm thinking mostly like iPhones and cell phones, but they could flash like the actual what's on the cell phone, what's physically on the device, and they could make endless amounts of images of it and play around with it till the cows come home. Make some sort of sense out of it. And they might need things online, but again, with computer tools, we could do and not even just computer tools. I kind of loosely follow the supercomputer race between China and the USA, and like it's constantly going back and forth. Like, oh, who's got the best supercomputer that can, calculate qubits at a time, or like gigantic amounts of. Actually, I don't even know what a qubit is. It sounds like Qbert, the old video game. But just being able to process data so much faster, like exponentially faster than anything we've able to. Because I've listened to explanations of it before, and it's like describing. Oh, also look at how glorious this lava is compared to that burnt pizza trash, and it flows. Wait, doesn't it? Or maybe it doesn't move. And I'm okay with that because it still looks so much better than that other texture pack. But anyways, yeah, just problems that would have taken us years to solve with modern technology and computers, like processing big data, take seconds. So, and especially when you're talking about artificial intelligence and training modules and models. And I was just watching a video from Allie K. Miller, brilliant AI person, and she's a big time investor in tech and used to be with Amazon and all this. And wait, am I full up? No. It's like I don't want to be missing these cacti, but these cacti are invaluable. We need them for dyes, both for green glass and lime green grass, which is the other glass. Yeah. But anyways, just the sheer amount of possibility and potential for that, and making it cheap too. Like now that we're building these massive supercomputers, and we're having them do things like I don't know, and a lot of old tech is being recycled, and I'm kind of still trying to figure out the best way to go about that because I've got two laptops right now, and I'm still trying to set them up. That's the other thing I want to work on today. Like wipe them again. They've already been wiped, but I want to do it again so I can. I mean, I have the passwords stored somewhere, but I got to figure out which place for that. So, and no, usually not on a device that's connected to the internet. That's a bad idea. You always got to have something like airlocked or air walled, or actually connection walled because everything's Wi-Fi now. This PlayStation is on Wi-Fi. It's amazing. Sorry, I just like the fact that because I mean I lived in a time when we had corded house phones. You had to be tethered to a wall, and to have a cordless phone was amazing. It was like, oh wow, that's so cool, that's so fancy. Also, is that orange dye? Yeah, we'll take some orange dye and some gunpowder. I think I might be drowning. Yep. Just gonna deposit some stuff right quick. Okay. Collect that stuff. Is there any stuff here? Usually it floats back to the top, so. And so you don't go trample my stuff. Just having a llama fight right on top of sleeping people. Yeah, we'll go to sleep too. It's kind of like the open air camping scenario. So, anyways, TC Arrowhead is a joke, and it might be better now. I don't know. This was several years back when this guy was there, and I know that we're continuing to move in that direction. And even with the recent legalization of mushrooms and DMT, that's gonna fix things for a lot of people. And although I'm pretty sure both of those were undetectable in drug tests anyway. Like I heard rumors that oh no, they can test for mushrooms, like they hold it under a light or whatever. Same with LSD, like they had some way. So I need to get rid of some stuff. But now it's a non-issue, and a lot of Native Americans used peyote or hallucinogenic mushroom, or actually no, I think it's cacti. Anyways, I don't know. I'm not as familiar with that stuff, but like, um, they used to use it in their rituals, their spirit walks, or and like Simpsons even does an episode where Homer goes on a spiritual journey, and he goes into the woods, all tripped out on hallucinogens, and he has a moment, like, or is that Homer? Or is that? Hmm. It's some adult cartoon. It could be. Sorry, I'm getting thirsty. It could be South Park, for that matter. I don't know. But anywho, let's make some dye, and let's make some wood. Oh, we need to get rid of some stuff. Okay, and some wheat down here. Actually, no, we'll put this stuff in the map. Okay, map and book and all that. Ugh. Just love doing that, like massive amount of wood. Let me refill that. That would be a good one to be feeding stuff into, but ah, that drift is vicious. All right. Oh, that's the hopper. There we go. Love this glass factory setup. And oh, we need to keep this going. We need glass. Let's actually try to only feed these ones first. Oops. Yeah, because we're going to need that for that building. Oh, wait. Ah, all right, cool. And, oh, all right. Oh, I got so many things going on. All right, anyways, let's stash the extra wood in here. Ah, there. Ah, jeez. Oh, we need more emeralds. All right. Okay. We also need more sand. Need quite a bit of that. Let's leave the iron. So anyways, Charlie Wall. So what I want to do is I want to get a lot of, yeah, let's actually go and get a ton of emeralds. Um, I want to get a line of thinking out in the public and like an easy to access and easily visible and understandable way of describing a safety net for Russian oligarchs to allow the peaceful transition of power. Just have everybody on board, no more of this like dancing around issues or political spin or whatever, like just being blunt, like, okay, if we want the government to change to where we can accept it as the Cold War finally being over, here's what we need to do, X, Y, and Z. And they need to do it, hearts and minds. Like, they need to be comfortable with, like, okay, let us do this. Like, we're good. Let's do this, let's move on, and let's stop being so silly about everything. But, because as is, I feel like everything is being so muddled up. Like, like the average American citizen has no idea what most laws or bills or policies are or why or like all the information needed. And definitely the same with Russian citizens. Like as censored as our media is, so is theirs. So it's all censored. It's all being filtered, washed, and presented in a way that, makes America at least look humane and not. But then at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter. Like if you did all of the things right, like dotted the T's and crossed it, or crossed the T's and dotted the I's, or dotted the lowercase J's from Waynesboro. Um, sorry, that derailed me a little bit. We could actually get things done. Sorry, it's like, and then communicated too. Like the common public in America needs some reassurances and inclusion on government politics and all that. And XApp is definitely providing that to a point, but um, yeah, I don't know. And both sides are guilty of slipping things in, and like, in fact, that's what it seems like. That's what the main perception people have with our government is. It's like a seesaw. Every time a Republican takes over from a Democrat, they they reverse or undo as much as they can of what the last president did, and then vice versa. When a Democrat comes in, like, I feel like Obama repealed a lot of the stuff that Bush Jr. did, and like, and Bush Jr. My gosh, like, should have just had Al Gore in there in the first place. But those hanging chads and that one state, it was down to one state that was affected by this, and because of the way that they called it down there, like the way they chose to go with it, you know, and there were enough votes that had hanging chads. At least what I remember. I might have to look that up, but I feel like there were enough votes with the hanging chad issue that had they been counted, like it wasn't even that they were missing or that someone brought in a bunch of fake votes that people didn't actually do themselves and sign for, so other people filled them out, which is voter fraud. Like you can't do that. One person, one vote. That's how it goes. So, anyways, and that's what a lot of the allegations were for that the 2020 election. Yeah, 2016 was Hillary and Trump, and then I don't know. That didn't really affect me much, a Trump presidency, honestly. Like it affected Roe v. Wade, and now they're talking about. I was reading something that they're talking about marriage equality. Now that, if that rolls back, and Roe v. Wade too. Don't get me wrong. We need to roll that forward again. Like I said, the seesaw thing. Whoever comes into presidency, well, I don't know. Biden's been, yeah, I don't know. It's like up to the states now. We got the Supreme Court leaning one way, the House leaning one way, or the Senate, the House. And so again, what does it matter too? Like I mean, it's down to the Republicans or the Democrats. Like if one has control, I mean, I guess it's so it's not any one person and everybody's under a microscope, which that's good. So I'm just also trying to think like how are we convincing Putin to do this? How are we convincing Russian oligarchs and Russian government? 'Cause that's the other thing too. Like what is the Russian government? Let me look up the wiki there. Oh, whoa, you know what? Yeah, I forgot to. I was like, man, this feels like a very long. I think I set PM on my alarm. I apologize. We went way past the 30-minute mark. Happy vacation. So, all right, I'll cut it there and we'll start another one. And maybe I'll do some editing magic in the future and chop these longer videos up because it is a bit much to sit here and listen to me. Like I have to like pause and like pick up later and like when I'm watching my stuff. It's like, so. All right, ta-ta for now. I will see you all in the next one.